Hey everyone, I hope you're well. So today I'm going to rank all of the Sisters of Mercy songs. So in total I'm pretty sure they have 53 original songs. In the bottom 53 to 48 I have songs that I consider straight up bad songs, like I don't like them, I don't really listen to them. Number 53 is Home of the Hitmen. There's nothing to that song, just nothing happens in it. 52 is The Damage Done. A bit similar to Home of the Hitmen, except it's a bit better. A few things do happen in it, you could say, but it's still not a good song. 51 is You Could Be the One, which is from Vision Thing, and it's just annoying to listen to. There's nothing interesting to listen to in that song. There's just nothing there really in terms of depth or musically or lyric. Number 50 is Detonation Boulevard, and it's basically the same thing with that song. It's just boring. It's just bland, boring song, so you know. Phantom is 59. And it's not really a song, is it? Because there's no singing, but I just feel it's kind of unnecessary and filler in Some Girls Want It by Mistake. 58 is When You Don't See Me, which is also from Ambition Thing, I think. And it's just bland, it's kind of annoying to listen to it. I don't really even have, I mean, I've obviously listened to all of these songs more than a couple times, but I don't even remember them until I listen to them again. The next ones are songs that are not bad, but I just don't think they're very interesting or very memorable. And 47 is Adrenochrome, which I wish that it was higher, because it obviously has the name of the band in the lyrics, but it's just not that interesting. There's just not much going on in there. Aside from, you know, the lyrics. 46 is Watch. I think it actually has interesting lyrics, but it has that very common problem among the old songs by them that you can barely hear the vocals. They almost don't matter. It's like the lyrics don't even matter because you can't even listen to them. The music itself starts off interesting, but it doesn't really get anywhere. Number 45 is Something Fast. I don't know, it has a nice sort of sound, but it's just not, it doesn't have a bunch of depth or anything. I do think though that it has just a bit more emotional depth going on than the previous songs that I mentioned from Vision Thing. Number 44 is Colors, which is that, I think it was a bonus track from FLOODI. The song is basically just the same lines over and over with basically no change, and it's more than 7 minutes long. 43 is Kiss the Carpet. And I feel like there's not much going on in it. It has an idea, but it doesn't really develop into anything. It just has the same atmosphere from Some Girls Want It by Mistake, which I do like, but that's about it. 42 is I Was Wrong. I was wrong. And again, I like the fact that it has a bit more emotional depth than maybe, you know, like I said, the other songs from Vision Thing. But even then, I guess it's a bit too obvious with the lyrics. They're a bit too simple. But I do like the fact that he seems to be a bit more honest and sincere and more straightforward in that song. 41 is FLOORSHOW. And well, he basically uses the song to make fun of his fan base or something. It's an okay song, but it doesn't really have much to say. It's just kind of something that is there. I guess that it was maybe meant for dancing or something, but even then it's a bit too simple, maybe. 40 is Heartland, which is a bit repetitive, of course, but I really like it. I don't know why, but it's one of the songs that even though I'm like, okay, there's not much to this, but I do like it, and it does have some good lines. So the next group of songs are ones that I think are good to very good, but not quite great. So number 39 is Train or Long Train. and the lyrics in the music are interesting. It just feels a bit unfinished. Like it doesn't really say everything that it was supposed to say. 38 is Poison Door. It has some interesting moments, but it's a bit too repetitive, and I think that it almost feels like the lyrics aren't even supposed to be saying anything, or like they're not really saying anything at all. I don't know. Maybe it's me who doesn't know how to interpret them. 37 is More. You know, I like the song. I like the fact that the song is a bit different from others from Vision Thing, you could say. But it's still not that interesting. It's a bit catchy, but it's just, I remember, it's just so much longer than it needs to be, than it deserves to be. 36 is Dr. Jeep. It's kind of catchy, it's somewhat fun, or at least it has some fun parts, but the lyrics are pretty bad, so it's not that great aside from that. Number 35 is Vision Thing. And it's an entertaining song again, but I don't think it has the best lyrics, and I don't know, it doesn't really feel like something that you want to listen to over and over, at least not for me. 34 is Neverland. And I like the shorter version. I feel like the second half of Floodland is not really as strong as the first half. It still has some good things, some good lines, but I mean, I don't know, I feel like it's one of those songs that you kind of feel like skipping most of the time. Number 33 is After Hours. And I consider this song to be very similar to Bury Me Deep, except that it's not as good. I mean, it does have a nice atmosphere, you know, mood, but it's a bit too simple, and I mean, the lyrics are alright, I guess, but again, Bury Me Deep is a better version of it. 32 is 1959. Mostly don't like the fact that it breaks the flow on Floodland, because you get 3 songs in a row that are amazing together and they fade into each other, and then suddenly you get like the piano and it's like 31 is Driven Like the Snow. And sometimes I feel like I myself don't give this song enough credit. I mean, I feel like I get the feeling that this song is, it's like I think this song is boring until I actually listen to it every time, and then every time I listen to it again I'm like, oh wait, actually this is really good. For some reason it's like very easy to skip because there's not a particular moment in the song that I want to listen to, or that I expect, or that I'm anticipating, I guess. So number 30 is Body and Soul. And I really like the lyrics. It seems to be about wanting someone like as a whole and forever, to know someone entirely, just as well as you know yourself, I would say. I think the whole EP of Body and Soul is great to listen to just as a whole, but the songs by themselves, I feel like they maybe don't really stand out that much. 29 is Burn. And this song has the same issue of some of their earlier songs where you can barely hear the vocals. But I think the lyrics are good. In terms of the music itself, it's also a good song, and I like the effect of him singing backwards. It's also something that makes me click on this song specifically. 28 is Torch. When I listen to this song, I'm like, wait, why did I like this song that much again? But then I actually get to the ending or the second half and I'm like, okay, so actually this is pretty interesting to listen to. 27 is Bury Me Deep. And like I said, this is basically a better version of After Hours. I really like this song. It's just so like death and despair, you know.
Death and despair!
I have it in my dark, depressing songs playlist, mostly because of the sound itself and because of the title. It just really fits. Maybe the lyrics are a bit simple and too, I don't know, obvious, like he's just putting a bunch of like dark words in one song together, I don't know, but I like the song. I think it's good. Blood Money though, which is I think in the same EP, is a better song just by one spot. It's 26. And I think it's just a more fun version of Bury Me Deep. 25 is Valentine. This is a similar song to Fix, I would say. In this song, both of them have a longer intro. They seem to both be about politics. I like the more intense ending for Fix, which is why I have it as 24. And I think that Fix has just really grown on me in the last couple of years. The intro takes a bit long, but for some reason now it doesn't really feel as long. I feel like it's actually interesting to listen to, even if it's the same thing over and over for a little while. The lyrics are also great. They might seem like they're not really saying anything, but I feel like they are actually some sort of very vague in general political commentary, especially. I think the most obvious one is the fact that he seems to be implying that some political parties use the idea of nationalism or patriotism to see like the better option. 23 is Under the Gun. And this song is great for the most part. There's something that I don't really know why they made that choice in terms of production, because you know, at the end you can barely hear him say some other lyrics, and you can mostly hear her like loudly singing "Are You Living for Love" just over and over, and that I don't really think that makes sense. It makes it seem much more repetitive than it really is. 22 is Body Electric, which is sort of a better version of Floor and I'm saying that because it feels like it's also kind of making fun of goths, but it seems like he's almost making a better or more interesting parallel between dancing and the electricity and maybe being electrocuted or something as a metaphor. Number 21 is Temple of Love. And I know some people really like it. I think it's actually the most listened to song on Spotify. And I really like the song. I think it's beautiful. But it's basically the same song twice. Like, the song could be half of the length and be more concise and just better, and something that you probably want to listen to over and over because it doesn't really feel like it drags as much. 20 is Walk Away. And you have probably noticed that I haven't actually mentioned any songs from First and Last and Always until this point. And that's because I think they're all great or amazing. This is maybe the worst one from there, only because, you know, maybe this is the least entertaining out of them. I do find it entertaining, but I feel like this is the song from the album that is really easy to skip. So 19 is Lights. And this song is just so perfect for like a foggy day or rainy day. Obviously it has the rain thing in the lyrics going on. And also the sound of the song itself is just kind of gloomy, but at the same time it has that metaphor of liking rain and being alright in the rain, which is usually associated with being sad or something of the sort. Unless he's being sarcastic and he's actually just convincing himself that he's happy, I don't know. So number 18 is Anaconda. The song has great lyrics. I think the formaldehyde line is very clever. It seems to be sort of a response or a sequel to Alice, which I think is a better song, but I think Anaconda is just the perfect closing song for Some Girls Want to Run Mistake. 17 is Ribbons. And I think this best song from Vision thing, as you can see, is only slightly better than the worst from First and Last and Always. It's a bit more violent than I've come to expect from this band or from Eldritch, because, you know, in his own interpretation, ribbons could mean cutting trios and stuff like that. But I like to interpret it as being dressed in ribbons or red lingerie or whatever. The lyrics are vague, but they're just vague enough, you know. It's not like they could mean anything, but there's definitely some different interpretations of them to be had. So 16 is No Time to Cry. I don't love the chorus of the song that much, But the verses are great, the lyrics are amazing. The song just seems to be about fear, but I'm not sure if he's sarcastically telling himself that he is not going to be afraid, or he's only trying to convince himself that he can just control his own fears, even though the verses imply that he actually can't control his fears because they affect his life. Number 15 is Black Planet. And this is just a great song to start the album with. The last third or so of the song can kind of skip because it does the thing where it just kind of fades away for like a whole minute or something, and it's just like Number 14 is First and Last and Always. Maybe it's not so easy. And looking back, there's not much going on in this song in comparison to others, and even in this album, but unlike others, this is a bit more interesting in terms of music, and it doesn't really overstay its welcome. It's just as long as it needs to be. 13 is A Rock and a Hard Place. This is sort of his take on a love song. It's a very nice take. I feel like he's leaving someone who he knows he is too sinful or too guilty or evil for, and the song is just very intense from beginning to end. Like, it's just really concise, really solid, and the lyrics are sort of structured like he's telling a story. Number 12 is On the Wire, which is probably his most vulnerable song. It has great lyrics. Sometimes they seem a bit sarcastic, but almost against himself, really. And he says he won't fall, but I interpret it as if he's trying to convince himself or insist to others that he's not going to fall. Number 11 is Alice. And I like the fact that this song is really self-aware with regarding issues with drugs. And it makes for a very dark song with a very intense ending that just makes you want to listen to it over and over. So now we're getting to the top 10 by them. And number 10 is This Corrosion. Obviously this is great, this is a top 10 and everything, but I just think that there's even better songs than this one. This is obviously iconic and everything, but maybe it's a bit long for someone to actually listen to rather than dancing to, and it still has good lyrics even though they're supposed to not make sense. Number 9 is Some Kind of Stranger. So there's two versions of this song and I actually really love them both. It seems to be about needing to be with someone even if you don't have the ability to connect with someone that strongly or that with that much intimacy. It would probably be much higher if the ending wasn't that repetitive, but I don't feel like it detracts too much from the song. 8 is Amphetamine Logic. And this song seems to be commenting on other people but also on himself, about how his life just seems to revolve around drugs and it makes him kind of empty as a person in terms of identity, in terms of everything. The lyrics kind of say it better than I do, but Number 7 is Flood 2, which is a faster version of Flood 1, but I don't think it's much better. It has some memorable lines, but it doesn't have as much depth and interest as Flood 1. So number 6 is Flood 1. And it might feel like the song just kind of goes on for too long. But it's just a slow song. It has those lyrics that have sort of double meaning. It has better lyrics than Flood 2, I would say. And it has the way that it fades into Lucretia, My Reflection is just amazing. Number 5 is Marian. The song is just great. It feels like he's just trying to sincerely tell us about his suffering. It has some of his best lyrics. I really love the German verses as well. It's just very creative. Number 4 is Dominion, Mother Russia. And this is the perfect song to start off Floodland with. There's so much to, I think, analyze in the lyrics. There's a lot of complexity in there. I think that different parts of the song always almost feel like unexpected, even if you've listened to it many times before. I also think that the song is just the perfect length, like it just says what it has to say and it just goes. Number 3 is Possession, which might seem a bit subdued in comparison to Dominion, but I just think the lyrics are great. They're very clever, especially here in this album, in First and Last. The lyrics are kind of written with him being a sort of unreliable narrator, and he wants you to know that he's not really the hero of his own story. He's somewhat of a villain. He's hurt others, he admits that he's hurt others, and that he somewhat regrets it. So number 2 is 919. And I understand that it might seem odd that these songs are very high, even though they're so repetitive in terms of music, but I do appreciate that sort of minimal approach to music. It just lets the lyrics shine and just be the focus. In the song, this narrator is losing hope and he does nothing but remember, because he is too detached from reality, from the outside world, and he doesn't want to be a part of it anymore. Like, he's not ready for it. So of course you probably know which one is number 1, and of course it's Lucretia, My Reflection. This song just has it all. It's just fun and it has interesting lyrics. It has just enough bitterness towards the previous members of the band, and it just contrasts so well against Flood 1, because Flood 1 is like so slow, and then suddenly you get this really full of energy song, and it even feels a bit too short, I would say. So that is my ranking of the songs, and I want to know what you think about it. Tell me down below what you would change or what you think about this, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!